My family, since they're all in China, I moved back to China when I was 18 and started business with Xianting Technology. And I'm in charge of the international business department for now. And I've been with the company for 6 years. And then Mr. Tony, we met a year ago, and we're doing cooperations together to help the environment and a better future. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope our contribution to the world means something.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, in this session, I'm gonna ask you a little bit about what us to the unknown. Or maybe people out there don't know what is CEMS and what it's proposed. Could you tell us?
Yeah, let me do a little explanation on CEMS. CEMS is a evaluation of continuous emission monitoring system. And some companies will generate waste gas and flue gas during their production and operation. After treatment, these waste gas and flue gas will be discharged into the atmosphere through the chimney. However, in order to protect the environment, it is very necessary to limit the pollutants discharged into the atmosphere, including limiting the concentration of pollutants and limiting the amount of pollutants discharged into the atmosphere. To this end, by installing CEMS on the waste gas and flue gas emission, flue gas and chimneys, the concentration and emission of waste gas and flue gas can be continuously monitored. And the reason why enterprises need to install in CEMS, including at least the following aspect. I listed 3 from my opinion and my experience. And now most countries have issued policies and regulations to limit the emission of pollutants into the atmosphere and require enterprises to install CEMS. Therefore, enterprises in these countries must install CEMS, comply with national laws and regulations, and to protect the environment, air quality of the whole country. Secondly, the exhaust gas emission data of enterprises must meet the National Control Index requirement. Otherwise, they will be punished by law and regulation. After installing CEMS for companies that comply with national environmental protection laws and regulations, they can prove that compliance of their emission and promptly remind enterprises that do not comply with laws and regulations to adjust their process and treatment facilities in a timely manner to meet environmental protection regulations. And through the analysis of the monitoring data of installed CEMS, enterprises can judge the operation status of fixed pollutant sources facilities, such as boilers, kilns, etc., and the operating status of fixed pollutant source treatment facilities, such as whether the dust collector is operating normally or the diffuserization tower is operating normally. This has a good monitoring effect on the operation of production facilities and treatment, and can also promptly discover operating facilities and abnormal phenomena, which is conductively to timely disposal by the enterprises. That's the 3 opinions we have by our experience.
Okay, so if we put it simple, the CEMS is not also monitoring the emission, but also serve another purpose, such as monitoring our production system, production facilities, such as dust collector. Is it working properly or not? We could see it in the particulate parameter. If it goes up, then something must be wrong, so we can regularly check in a real time the particulate concentration, and we could check
very
if
correct.
the facility is working properly or not. Okay,
yes.
So then is it economically benefit for the company to use CEMS? Maybe like a power plants and a gas production, they need to have a lot of chimney and a lot of CEMS. So how is your company tackle all that? An economic perspective.
Well, it comes with two ways. First way is the government regulation requires you to install CEMS. That way we can't control it. And secondly, it's good for the process, which before, if you don't have a CEMS, you just have your engineer to take a look every process through the whole industry, and you figure out where it goes wrong, and maybe it takes a longer time. And after installing CEMS, you can directly see which point is having a normal data and just go directly to fix that point.
Okay. What if my company interested in installing CEMS in the industry? What is the first step to do?
First step, well, since I'm a CEMS manufacturer, and normally we have our customer to fill out a technical data sheet, we need to know what is their factory doing and the amount of the pollutants they need to have the limit on. For example, you need to parameters such as NOx, SO2, oxygen, and what is the different level between them. We need to set a limit to it. And then after discovering, finish talking about the parameters, we can give you a detailed solutions after.
Okay, so my company will explain about our production system, and then your team will check the regulation before installing the important parameters for the CEMS.
Yes.
Okay, so now I've heard about the price of the CEMS from the Europe, from the US, from any other countries that are quite a lot expensive. How is your battle strategy to combat that problem?
Well, in Indonesia and China, comparatively, we have the same problems back in 20 years ago. All the Chinese companies, since we don't have the technology to build our own brand CEMS, we have to purchase from European companies. And their price back in 20 years ago was way much higher. And then since we want to cut down the budget, in mainland China, all the high-tech companies started to thinking, why don't we just build our own CEMS and have it cheaper? So it saves budget for other companies that needs to install CEMS. And then that's when we came out and we started as building one analyzer. And then after 5 years of experience, we finished our whole set first time. And the price can be 5 times cheaper than the European company brands.
What are the material that your company use to make sure that the price goes down? Is there anything particular comparing to other CEMS system?
Well, for stabilized of the CEMS, we are still using imported sensors and main spare parts. But we cut down the prices based on the other parts that doesn't really matter or affect the CEMS usage. So that way the price goes lower.
But you can make sure that the durability of the analyzer and the sensors are all right, yeah?
Of course. That's the first guarantee we make.
So, how often should we check or maintain our CEMS?
That's a good question because depends on different field. For example, coal fire industry and the steel manufacturing, they have different pollutants. Steel
Okay.
factory have more dust, right?
Yeah.
They use dust collectors. Um, they need to check very often, maybe half a year or a year, to see if the dust goes into the system, and if it gets dirty, they need to replace the cooling condensation or the filters. Filters is one of the main things to be replaced, but they're not that expensive. All the spare parts for things from our factory, they need to maybe replace one time a year or once in 2 years. So the cost is not that high for the company.
Okay, so that is a reason why some of our companies have an error in their CEMS, because they don't check it regularly and they don't maintain it regularly to maintain the health of their CEMS. One last question. It's kind of a little bit personal. Is that okay with you?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. What is CEMS to you personally? A story about you and CEMS. Could you tell us?
That question I'm not prepared, Tony. What
Shot
is
it.
CEMS to me? Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's a shock.
What is CEMS to you? Yeah, for many people, they have different point of view, right? For some people, the CEMS is like everything to them. CEMS is like an opening path to their life. What are CEMS to you?
CEMS, let me put it in two ways. Let's
Okay.
be real at first, because since I work and sell CEMS, CEMS is a work for me, and it gives me salary, of course. It keeps me survive in
Indeed.
this society. And then secondly, I'm an environmental person. I studied environmental productions back when I was in US, and I want to make the world a better place for humans to live. So CEMS can maybe help in some kind of way for the companies and do a little bit help in the society. That's two main points for me. What is CEMS to me? Yeah.
Okay. It's very interesting word. Making a world a better place and a safe place for the environment. That's the highlight.
We want our generations to keep on going, right?
Yeah, of course. Indeed.
Yeah. Gotta save the planet some way.
Yeah. So, thank you, Jerry Zhang, for your time. And maybe you are actually busy or something. We are bugging you or not. Let's hope
Don't
we're
worry.
not bugging you. Okay, so before the end of our podcast, it is recommended that the enterprise, considering implementing CEMS, and after CEMS enter the enterprise, it will affect the operation of the enterprise's process and the operation of the treatment facilities. And this process will be faced by every enterprises that installs CEMS. And it is not only an environmental protection issue, but it is also an enterprise business management issue. The relevant department within the enterprise needs to constantly explore and collaborate with external government management departments, and this process will promote the environment for enterprise management. So there will be some twists and turns in the implementation at the beginning, but after the enterprise is on the right track, it will allow the enterprise to devote itself to production and operation. So in addition, it is recommended that enterprise should accurately feedback the enterprise's working condition to the CEMS manufacturer before purchasing the CEMS, and choose to purchase according to the CEMS manufacturer's suggestions and local environmental protection regulation. After the CEMS installed, electrical and instrumental engineers should conduct regularly to do inspection and maintenance of the system to make sure that the CEMS work properly.
Yes, every year. Well, back in China, we have a regulations After we sell these SIMs to the company, they have to find a third party to do the maintenance for them continuously, maybe once a month or twice a month. But in Indonesia, I don't think that is a big thing for now, but maybe in the future, they will do need to maintenance the system.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zhang, for your instruction and recommendation for industrial company in Indonesia. Okay,
No,
that's it, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Zhang, for your cooperation. We shall conclude this podcast, and I will close this podcast. Thank you, everyone who joined and watched our podcast. Have a good day,
have a
Mr.
good
Zhang.
day. Bye
Have a
bye,
good day,
honey.
everyone. Bye bye.